Okay, so I guess we'll move on to the next question. What are some of the reproductive resources available to your clients?
Yeah, so I think we touched on that a little bit with the workshop series, certainly. And I think I'll share a little bit more at the workshop series because we tried to make it as real as possible. And that means that we incorporated, because we had done surveys, we had done focus groups, we had had a lot of conversations with young people about what they needed in a sexual curriculum, sexual health curriculum. And then we came and combine that with this evidence-based curriculum. It's been doing it for quite a while. It's effective. We know that it's effective. And then making sure that, like I said, we're meeting people where they are. And so some of the examples that we give, even just in the video series, is, friends are asking each other for relationship advice, right? And some friends give really good advice and some friends do not give the best advice. And so we see that. We have conversations about who do you trust? Who do you go to? So when we're having talk about communication and decision making, all of that relies on the fact that you have a support network. You have someone to go to when you're trying to make a decision. They're giving you the best advice, but you're making, at the end of the day, the best advice for you. What makes you happy? That's the purpose of this. And then at what point do you need to sort of revise your initial decision and say, okay, now this is what makes me happy, because that's absolutely okay. Everyone changes their mind. So trying to steer people away from peer pressure, community pressure, cultural pressure, gender roles, all of these things that we know play such an important role in everyone's life and sometimes can affect us more than we want them to. So it's just a matter of letting people know what their options are and helping them exercise the best way they want to live. And so we do that as on a whole the conversation with larger groups of people. So we do this through workshops at schools, at faith-based settings, at community-based centers. And then we also, one of our newest resources is providing that similar conversation, but on a one-on-one setting. So if someone wants to call us and say, listen, I'm interested in having conversation about my reproductive health, but I don't want I don't want to sit in a whole setting. I would just like to do a one-on-one. That's something that's absolutely available and can be scheduled on, whenever the community member is available with our health educator in both English and French. And so those are some of our main reproductive health resources. In terms of getting the actual care, so we've built partnerships with, as I mentioned, a lot of healthcare clinics. We've been working for quite a while with, when we think sexual health, we think Planned Parenthood of NYC. That's sort of one of the first places that we would share, especially if they want that service confidentially. But, if we're talking to youth, many of them could go to their school-based health centers. Now school looks very different. But those are just some of the resources, as well as some of the clinics, some of the, we've been working more closely with the New York City. So clinics wise, we're thinking about the federally qualified health centers that, anyone can go regardless of status, can get the information or can get the care that they need, and they're billed on a sliding fee scale. And then as well as more recently, we've been working with the New York City Health and Hospitals to get people enrolled in NYC Care so that they can actually they're part of a program, a coverage program that can allow them to see a primary care provider. They can see an OBGYN, they can get health care not on an emergency basis, regardless of their immigration status, regardless of their income. And those are, I think, some of the very important resources that we have. We know we're based in the South Bronx and right by the 3rd Avenue Bridge. And so a lot of our community members that are going to make the trek out there are going to go to Lincoln Hospital, for example. So it's great to know that, listen, we can help direct you there, as well as get you coverage so that you're part of a program that can, that, okay, this is my primary care doctor. This is how I can get the healthcare. I can call and make an appointment. I can get my meds. I can get whatever I need. And it's much more smooth that way versus relying on the emergency room, emergency Medicaid, or some of the other resources that was really all there was available before.
That's so cool. I'm sorry for all the stuttering, all the nurses and stuff, but this program is really cool. It's super cool. Oh my God.
I
Um,
appreciate it. I mean, I hope more people think it's cool too. We're always trying to reach out to the community. So,
Definitely, definitely. I mean, this will hopefully this reaches as many people as it can, because this is a lot of information, like super scary to go about, or super nervous and stuff. So this is why I like doing this stuff too, because it a lot of these programs do so much that I feel like actually like could help the community, or like even when I was growing up or in middle school and high school and stuff, you're eventually going to hear something that doesn't sound right, or you're not going to know whether or not if it is correct or not. So I feel
right.
like a lot of these programs, including yours, is a great opportunity, even though it may sound a little weird or whatever. It's a great opportunity to go there and actually experience it for yourself and get reliable information. And that's what's the most important part, reliable information. So I
Right.
genuinely, yeah, I think it's super cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I will say I think there's like as much of those as those services are available, like even ours, I think people have experiences with like for example, not finding help in their language, um, long wait lists because you can
definitely.
call a
Yeah,
place and they'll be like, yeah, we'll get back to you. They're inundated. A lot of our nonprofits are small. They're like limited in scope. They can only do so much. They can only help so many people. So it's important to certainly reach out, but to know that some people do face those challenges and then they're just like, well, there's no need in reaching out again. And that's unfortunate. And that's what we're hoping and we're trying, especially now that we can do a lot of this work remotely, we can reach more people and our capacity is not as strained as it used to be.
definitely, definitely. Okay, so um, next question is, do you have any resources available for teenage mothers?
So I will say all of our resources are available for anyone in the community, particularly the youngest we've had in our workshop series have been 12 years old, but we go 12 and up. And whether they're a mother or they're not a mother yet, or they're thinking about it, or, all of those different stages that somebody can be in, maybe they're a parent, maybe they're not a parent, a step parent, it can look like many different things, but our resources are really there for everyone, whether it's the workshops or the one-on-one health education sessions. So absolutely, we'd love to open those up for our teenage moms as well, to come and take advantage of those resources, mainly because we are very focused on having conversations about, like when we're thinking about reproductive health, we're always thinking about what we consider child spacing or family planning. So our community is familiar with the term child spacing. And it's like, well, if I already have a child, when can I have the next one? And when is it a good idea? And I can't give someone that answer for them, but we can tell them, we can walk through sort of the steps, the reflection steps necessary to make that decision for them. And then if they decide, yes, I want to have a child, okay, how, let's go about trying to get pregnant. Or if I don't want to have a child, what does that time frame look like? What contraceptive options are there for me? We can sort of help people just process that and have that conversation. And then, as I mentioned, link them to the care and the clinical setting where that they can actually get access to those services.
Okay. Okay, so are any of these resources available remotely? But you already covered that with the workshops. I'm
All of
not
them.
even gonna, yeah.
All of them. I will say this too. So when I'm speaking about the health workshops and the one-on-one health education, the linkage to care, these are all things that like the department I work for, community wellness, provides. But Sauti Yetu as an agency really provides a whole gamut of services, from counseling, group counseling or individual counseling, to helping people, with their college applications and some of their, applying for jobs, their resume prep, all of that, legal services, whatever that could look like. They do a very wide array, a range of services that they provide, as well as, connecting people if they need family therapy, um, or as I mentioned, there's, child endangerment in a home. All of those things, the agency as a whole can support and help a family with.
Okay, so it's a pretty wide sort of net of resources. That's really good. Okay. So it says, what is the cost of your services?
Absolutely free. Your time.
Nice.
Your time. Either whether you're calling us, you're calling the agency and saying, I have this problem and that problem, that problem. And then we're sort of linking folks to whatever department can really help that situation best. As well as sometimes we have people that refer. So like if it's a school or another community-based organization, they can say, listen, we've been working with this family member, and we're finding that they're dealing with some kind of distress. They're dealing with X resource, whatever the situation might be. So we take individuals presenting themselves and saying, this is the kind of help I need, as well as like other agencies referring their clients.
Okay. You love to hear it. Cost free. That's awesome. Okay. So it says, what are the main requirements to use your services?
There really aren't requirements. If you need help, we will try and be there as much as possible. I will say this, I know that there are, like, for example, we have a really strong partnership with the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs because we work with immigrants, right? And so if we don't provide that resource, we try and use their network to refer people to somebody who can help more directly. This is very helpful when we're thinking about like housing, because we don't directly help with housing applications. However, we may know of agencies that do, just within our network. There aren't really any requirements. It's almost like a come one, come all scenario.
Okay, that's great. That's great then. Like you said, as many people as possible to interact. That's great. What is your outreach strategy to get women's attention?
When I tell you we've tried everything under the sun.
Yeah.
Everything. And it's because we're reaching such a wide population. It's youth, it's women, it's their partners, it's, their community-based settings. So a lot of the time what we found has been very helpful is just finding where community members tend to congregate anyways. We're social beings. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of us will find that, the mosque by my house is where I go hang out. The school is where the kids, might stay for an after school program, or they're, they might have like a weekend, religion class on the weekends. All of those spaces where people are already meeting is where we like to go. Before COVID, we would go in person, we would do a presentation, we meet with people. Now, since COVID, we're doing a lot more calling, a lot more. So if somebody, both internally, like internal referrals within the agency, so if someone calls, they need legal assistance, we will ask the legal department, as you're speaking to this person, do you think that they need health resources as well? We'll get a referral from them. And so folks can come into the agency through one department and find that they're getting multiple services throughout the agency. And so our strategy has been a bit of social media, a bit of cold calling people, because we know that they've either used a resource of ours or they're connected to someone that we know. And calling folks that way, letting them know we're always growing. Like the community wellness department started by just doing workshops. In 2016, that's what we did. Since that time, we've now been providing, assistance with like health insurance enrollment, assistance with getting, when it was like the census was going on, we were helping people respond to their census. When COVID happened and like really the shutdown started, we were getting people the food that they needed, assisting with food distribution. Our work is always changing. And so we like to reach out to people, let them know whether they're community leaders and can like spread that word via WhatsApp, because that's absolutely fine. Just to let people know we're doing different things. And our services are always changing. So reach out, because maybe we can help you in a new way.
Definitely. Okay, that's honestly great, because that's a lot of what we've been doing as well. Like, if it's not social media, it's calling people. If it's not calling people, it's where, even whenever COVID started, like calming down and stuff, we'd be going back into the community, trying to do food pantry giveaways, stuff like that too. And honestly, we really enjoyed it, and it feels like it's been working too. So a lot of these, like these interviews as well. Like I said, like I enjoy that stuff, and it feels like it's working. So definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, I think people have also just turned to like social media and WhatsApp and all these other resources more when they were quarantining. Like when everyone's stuck at home, there's really nothing to do. And so people are going to reach out. Yeah. They're just going to be on their phone all day until they get bored.
Definitely. Nah. Okay. So, I think we went through all the questions. So, if anything, I appreciate you, coming on and doing this interview. It was awesome. It was really fun. I learned a lot. If I could get your name one more time so I don't butcher it.
Sure. Hager Shawkat.
Hager. Okay. So Hager, I genuinely appreciate you coming on and, informing us about your program, what it provides, all the great resources it has. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time and for the opportunity to talk to you guys. I appreciated this interview just as much. So.
No problem.